Whitespace is a term that describes a class of characters that do not typically display on a screen or a page. This includes spaces, tabs, new lines, and a few other more obscure characters. Let's take a look at how HTML handles whitespace. We'll start by making a working copy of whitespace.html, and I'm going to name this whitespace-working.html, and I'm going to open it in my text editor. I'm also going to open it in a browser, so we'll just go ahead right now and open this in the browser. And you see it just has a couple of lines of text and the title text example up at the top. And if we look in the HTML file, we see there's our title tag on line 7 and these two paragraphs on line 13 and line 16. And you'll notice that there's actually 2 lines of blank space between the paragraphs on lines 14 and 15. And yet, when you look at it in the browser, there's really just 1 line of space between them. In fact, I can come in here and I can do that and put in a bunch of lines of space, and I'll save that and reload in the browser, and you see it doesn't change at all. So this is a hint of how HTML handles whitespace. You notice whitespace throughout this document. You see there's a blank space here, there's a blank line here, there's blank spaces in front of a lot of these tags so that they're indented so that we have some structure in our document. And in fact, I can just insert a whole bunch of spaces right here. If I save this and reload it, you'll notice nothing changes in the document. So HTML treats whitespace in a very special way. For the most part, it takes as many sequential items of whitespace as you can throw at it, be they spaces or new lines or tabs, and it folds them all into one space, just as if I had just done that. It makes no distinction between vertical space and horizontal space. In other words, new lines, spaces, tabs are all treated exactly the same. It also does a couple of other interesting things. I'm going to go ahead and close up some of this space here. And you'll notice this space here between the opening P tag and the first letter of the paragraph. In fact, I could put that on a different line and I could indent it and I could do the same over here and it'll treat it exactly the same. In this case, at the beginning of a line of text, it actually removes all of that space, as if there were no space there whatsoever. You'll notice in our document here, I'm going to hit reload, you'll notice that there is absolutely no space at all at the beginning of that paragraph, just the indent that's the normal default for the browser. You'll also notice that comments are treated as white space. I can come in here in the middle of this paragraph, and I can put in a bunch of blank lines, and I can put in a comment. And I save that and reload it, and you notice that nothing changes in our document. Now, there may be cases where you actually want the white space to display. And let's just put in a bunch of white space here. We'll save this. And I'm going to change this P tag to, say, pre, P-R-E. So we're going to use pre instead of P. So pre stands for pre-formatted text. And if I save this and reload it in the browser, you'll notice that now our text is exactly as we've formatted it there. All of those blank spaces are being displayed. And you'll also notice that the text is displayed in a fixed space font as opposed to the default proportional space font that you would get with a P tag. So if you actually want to be able to display the white space, you have a way to do that. So HTML handles whitespace differently than you might be used to with a word processor or other layout tools. Sequential whitespace is typically all folded into one space, and a special element called pre is provided to display whitespace if you need it.